So, let me ask you something. What if the whole secret to crushing it in sales wasn't about persuading people, but teaching them? What if you could actually say goodbye to those broke months for good, just by changing your approach from being a seller to being an educator? Let's get into it.
I mean, think about it. You've been there, right? That weird tension in a sales call, that feeling deep down that you're just pushing something on someone instead of, actually helping. It's a super common problem. And honestly, it comes from using tactics that just don't build the one thing you absolutely need: trust.
Okay, so let's really break down the core of the problem here. For decades, sales has been taught with this laser focus on one thing: closing the deal. You use pressure, you create a little bit of FOMO, but that whole foundation, it's getting really outdated. And even more important, it's just not working like it used to.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just wow. On one side, you have these old school pressure tactics. They create friction, they feel kind of manipulative, right? But on the other side, you've got this educational approach that actually empowers your client and builds real, genuine trust. It's a total shift from trying to get something from a client to actually giving them something valuable.
And listen, this isn't just some feel-good theory. It's totally backed by research. A Harvard study on communication found that when you truly support someone, when you help them feel capable and like they're in control, you're literally building the essential ingredients of trust. The old way of selling? It does the exact opposite.
So, this brings us to the solution, this big paradigm shift called Teach to Sell. It's all about stepping away from that dusty old sales playbook and really embracing a brand new role.
So what is Teach to Sell, really? At its heart, it's about serving your clients with the knowledge they actually need to solve their problems. And when you do that well, the sale isn't something you have to force. It just becomes the natural, totally logical next step for a customer who feels empowered.
And you know this works because the best in the business are already doing it. Patagonia doesn't just sell you a fleece jacket. They educate their entire community on environmentalism. That builds fierce loyalty. HubSpot gives away tons and tons of free educational content, and they've become the go-to resource that attracts clients who, guess what, already trust them. All right, so let's get into the real magic of this. How does this approach build the single most valuable asset you can have in any business relationship? We're talking about unbreakable trust. This is really the heart and soul of the whole thing.
Now, here's the statement that might make you stop for a second. The best, most successful professionals, they aren't even seen as salespeople. They've totally moved beyond that role. Instead, they lead with influence, an influence they've earned through their guidance and their expertise. And this idea really brings it all home. Just think back to the best teachers you ever had. They didn't sell you on calculus or history, right? No, they guided you. They helped you connect the dots yourself and let you arrive at your own understanding. That's the kind of deep impact you can have.
So, at the end of the day, it's a shift in your identity. The moment you start seeing your main role as being an advisor, everything changes. Your actions, your conversations, and most importantly, the way your clients see you and trust you changes completely. Okay, so we get the why. That all sounds great. But now let's get down to brass tacks and talk about the how. How do we actually move from this internal mindset to taking real, concrete actions?
So, before any strategy is going to work, you have to deal with the biggest hurdle. And almost always, it's the one inside your own head. It's that nagging voice of self-doubt, that fear of rejection, that I'm not good enough feeling that makes you freeze up right when you should be helping.
And just look at the difference here. The old mindset is all about need and fear. Oh, I really need this commission. What if they say no? The new mindset, though, it's rooted in service and confidence. I have valuable knowledge that can actually help this person. That shift, that's the engine that powers this entire approach.
So here they are, 4 questions you can start asking yourself immediately. And notice something? Not a single one is about your product. They are all about the client. What are their problems? How can I empower them? How do I educate them on their concerns? Am I even speaking their language? This is your new framework.
So what's the big payoff for making this change? Well, it's about building a business that's sustainable and predictable. It's about finally seeing the end of those super stressful, broke months.
Look, this is all about playing the long game. A transactional sale is a one-time thing. It's often cold, impersonal, and the relationship basically dies as soon as the deal is closed. But a relationship that's built on teaching and trust, that creates loyalty. It doesn't just end, it keeps going, creating a pipeline of referrals and repeat business for years and years. So, if there's one thing to take away, it's this. When you consistently lead with education and a real desire to serve, sales stop being something you have to hunt down. They become the natural, almost inevitable result of the value you're already providing.
And that leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about. Not what can you sell them, but what can you teach them? Seriously, think about that with the very next person you talk to. What's one piece of knowledge you can give them that will empower them, solve a tiny problem, and start building that foundation of unbreakable trust? Because that's where it all begins.